So my name is Stefanie Naujoks. I'm Research Director at IDC's Manufacturing Insights Group. And at IDC we are looking, among others, at how continuous innovation can help manufacturers to tackle changing market dynamics. And what are some of the major changing market dynamics we see? And for sure there is the global corona pandemic, which has exposed manufacturers to globally disrupted supply chains, or a temporarily closure of physical sales channels, or workforce limitations. And there is a global shortage of key supplies and components, so just to mention the lack of microchips. There are evolving customer expectations, and there is a global competition from digitally advanced manufacturers, which actually requires less digital mature and advanced manufacturers to really act now. And in some manufacturing subsectors we see an aging workforce, which really challenges manufacturers to address upcoming skill gaps. And manufacturers will increasingly be required to embed sustainability targets into their operations and also into their products. So the imperative to deliver on these changing market dynamics is greater than ever. From my perspective, continuous innovation is a major lever to address those changing market dynamics. And there are actually two ways of thinking and looking at innovation. So there are process innovations and product innovations. And for manufacturers, there is actually a wide range of opportunities how to bring in innovations into existing processes. And examples are, for example, speeding up product development processes to make them more efficient, hence being a lot better able to react to changing market conditions and customer requirements much faster. Or process innovations can relate to increasing the supply chain resilience to avoid supply chain bottlenecks, which on one hand hampers perfect order delivery, and on the other hand, if done right, really contributes to improving the cost base. And process innovations can also relate to increasing the efficiency and effectiveness of factory operations to avoid that the factory itself becomes a bottleneck, or to improve product quality. Process innovation can relate to reducing the carbon footprint as goods are moved around. And also process innovations can relate to improving quality of field service operations by establishing feedback loops from field service and support back into engineering to ensure, on one hand, better serviceability of products, but also to enable proactive service. And a common key requirement to realize all of such process innovations is that all relevant stakeholders are able to share relevant data more seamless and faster than before. And stakeholders can be in the supply chain, in production, in service and support, in engineering. And data that needs to be shared can be, for example, supply and demand data, product specifications, or product drawings, or bill of materials, or even current carbon footprints. And the same actually applies to product innovations. If products should become more energy efficient or better recyclable, this requires that engineering collaborates quite closely with the suppliers of raw material and components already very early in the product development processes. Or think about products that will increasingly be connected and enhanced with digital services such as remote monitoring services. This requires that engineering collaborates closely with software developers and also with the service department to ensure serviceability of connected products. And also we see a lot of industrial manufacturers evaluating how they can shift from sales of physical products to new business models, such as selling their products as a service or selling actually output as a service. And this will also require, for example, engineering not only to work closely with service and support, but also with the finance department in order to exchange data that is relevant for subscription billing, data such as output data or machine performance data. So, whether we are looking at process innovations or product innovations, both definitely requires an integration of all relevant stakeholders in the organization. And establishing a shared digital thread, connecting all those relevant stakeholders and key decision makers, as well as external stakeholders, will play a major role in the future. And what do I mean with establishing a digital thread? This can, for example, mean to connect the enterprise PLM with supply chain planning applications, with manufacturing execution systems, with the ERP, with the CRM or field service applications, and also HCM applications, to also bring in the people aspect of things and the required skills aspect of things. And while a lot of these software categories are based on business applications that have evolved over the past few decades, the ideal would actually be to have a technology backbone that is always up to date, automatically upgraded, and which incorporates all the latest innovations. And most importantly, which inherently is actually designed to support the vision of a digital thread. And when I think back about what major trends I've seen at this year's Hannover Messe, I can only repeat myself by saying that continuous innovation will be key to address changing market dynamics. So, for example, there finally is a genuine awareness in the industry for sustainability, and there were a number of panel discussions at the Hannover Messe about sustainability. And first, this will require not only product innovations, but also process innovations. And second, there was a common sense that IT will play a major role to help manufacturers, for example, to reduce energy consumption or to reduce waste, or actually to develop more energy efficient products. And talking about IT, also many conversations at the Hannover Messe were around the digital twin and its expanded scope towards the digital thread concept, actually. And talking about this necessary, more seamless flow of information, not only that we have a lot of discussions with our manufacturing CXO community about this topic, it was super interesting for me to see that also a lot of panel discussions at the Hannover Messe were centered around topics such as how to overcome data silos, or how to create data-centric enterprise architectures to enable a closed-loop manufacturing. What I want you to take away now is that continuous innovation will be key to address changing market dynamics. And there are great digital technologies out there to enable continuous innovations, and I haven't talked about them in detail, but think about AI, IoT, big data analytics, blockchain, and cloud. And actually, in particular, cloud-based solutions are the foundational technology to enable the digital thread. But all of these technologies will play a key role to get the most out of data and to enable continuous innovations. But besides the use of digital technologies, never forget about the need for a change of culture and people's mindset to really ensure continuous innovation.